Hello and welcome back to another edition of the Riverhawk Spotlight. I'm your host, Josh Klein. I have the pleasure of being joined by Caroline Boehm from the Susquehanna women's volleyball team. Thanks for joining me, Caroline.
Thank you for having me.
Caroline, so for those that are not familiar with volleyball, can you kind of describe what you do in the match as a defensive specialist?
Well, as a DS, I'm sure my fellow DSs could probably attest to this. We're kind of like the unsung heroes of volleyball. And a lot of people know that you get 3 contacts per side, and so we do a lot of first contact. So that's like passing a serve, that's taking a ball, and a lot of what happens after is predicated on how well we pass during the game. So if our first contact is really, really good, we're gonna make our hitters and our setters look phenomenal. So a lot of times, especially at this high level of volleyball, it usually comes down to the serve and pass game, who can serve well and who can pass well, who has the people who are handling first contact as best as they can, and that puts us in a position to put the ball away as often as possible.
In addition to playing defense, you're also among the team leaders in service aces, leading with 20. What is the key to having a good serve?
I think for our team, especially in our gym, the key to having a good serve is serving with tempo. So a lot of teams will get the point and they do the celebration thing and then they want to hang out in the middle for a little bit and the game is slow. But what happens is, if you watch any of our film, as soon as we get a point, the person who's serving is sprinting back to the service line, standing there ready to serve the ball as soon as the ref blows the whistle. And we kind of like have to play this game with the refs. Some of the refs like want to go. A lot of these refs are like, yeah, serve, whatever. They want the game to be over as soon as possible. But a lot of the refs are like keyed into what we're doing and they want to be smart and they want to have all the power. So the refs will stand there and they'll make eye contact with you. They'll hold their arm out. They'll be like, oh, I see you. I see that you're ready. And so all of us are standing at the back line. We're like, can you just blow the whistle? I'm so ready to serve. So a lot of times what happens if you're serving with tempo is that the other team isn't ready. So let's say someone in our front row just pounds the ball. It's a great kill, and we just got the point. And then I'm sprinting back. I'm at the service line, and they're frazzled. They're like, why did that ball hit the ground? Like, what do we have to do? And I'm already back there serving. And so a lot of times, especially when you speed up your serve, a lot of people are frazzled. They don't know what to do, and then they can't handle the ball because they're not set and they're not ready. And probably like the most obvious technical thing is you want to serve as close to the service line as you can, because that shortens the distance between your serve and the person passing, and that usually that shortens the time that the passer has to make a decision. So if you have less time to make a decision, and like anything in sports, like you're probably gonna make a poor decision if you had more time.
And how has Coach Tom emphasized the whole tempo and using your home court to your advantage?
Everything we do, like if you would walk into a practice, you'd probably just be blown away, because we don't even, a lot of our practices aren't centered around like isolation drills. We do a lot of just playing. And so we'll play this game that's like 5 serve, 5 receives, and we get through 10 serves probably in a minute, because there's this girl, boom, boom, boom. We don't mess around any time. And that goes like every facet of the game. Like first contact is fast, second contact is fast. Like a lot of other teams will set balls that go like really high and they take forever to go out to their pins, or they take forever to go out to whoever they're setting. But it starts with us, especially going back to the defensive specialist thing. If we're passing the ball, when we pass it really quickly to the setter, and then they get the ball really quickly to a hitter. So a lot of times we can beat bigger teams because we're running a tempo game that these big girls just can't keep up with.
And I noticed that you do not wear the same color jersey as the rest of the team. I'm told that's because you're a libero. So what is a libero?
That's actually very interesting. You'd be surprised how often I get that question, or maybe not. But the Latin root lib actually means free. So in volleyball, you only get 15 substitutions a match. So in basketball and football and other things, you can sub out as often as you want, however many people. So if you're in the middle of a basketball game and you're like, all 5 people are doing terrible, then you can sub in a whole different set of guys, however often you want to do that. But in volleyball, because of all the rules and the rotations, you only get 15. So every time someone comes in for another person, let's say in the back row or the front row, that counts as a substitution. So what I do in the different colored jersey, they can easily track me. I'm allowed to freely go in and out of the game. However, I can only stay in the back row. So I can't attack. I can't jump above the 10-foot, above the height of the net. I can't jump in front of the 10-foot line. So there's like a lot of restrictions that come with wearing the different colored jersey. But it's mostly a thing that, so if the game is in the 20s and let's say we have 12 substitutions, we're running out of subs, I can still continue to go in and out of the game and provide like a defensive presence. Like last year when we played in the NCAA tournament in the first round, we played Clarkson. And I think the first set we lost 31-29. Can you believe that? And so we're in the late 20s, we're about to hit 30, and next thing you know, we have defensive specialists like Alyssa Chiodo and Casey Boast, like, in the front row. Like, these girls are like 5'4", 5'2". These girls don't hit. But so then we have big people in the back row. We have big 5'9", 5'10", 6-footers in the back row who aren't as good at handling first contact. But I'm still allowed. I don't count as a substitution. So we're in a rut or whatever. I can still go in the back row and provide some type of first contact specialization for the team.
What was something you were looking at last year when you were in the tournament? What's something that you were able to take away from experienced veteran players like Alyssa Chiodo and with Casey, who's your year?
Well, Alyssa especially she just set such a good example for us as defensive players to go out all the time and play your best and play your hardest and not to let anything hit the floor. I think the big thing with Alyssa and Casey is that they were probably the two hardest working kids in the gym, and they set the tone for the rest of the defense. Like, we're going to come in, we're not going to let anything hit the floor. And especially last year in the tournament, they really, especially even extended to all the seniors, they really showed that little things matter. So we lost by, I think, a cumulative of 6 points. We lost 31-29, 26-24, 25-23, I think. And that margin is so small that if we would have just done the little things right, like worked a little bit harder on defense or worked a little bit harder in serve receive, we would have ended up winning that game. And I think that's largely reflected in this year too. A lot of our emphasis in practice and in games is for us to think about the little things, because if you do the little things right in volleyball, the big things will just come naturally.
And as you mentioned, the team advanced the NCAA tournament for the first time in school history. What does the team have to do the remainder of the year to get back into the tournament?
I think perhaps the most obvious thing to say about that is we have to win as much as possible the rest of the games. I think we have 10 games left in the season, so winning out would be huge. But let's say we lose a couple or something happens that's out of our hands. All we have to do is the next 2 landmark conference weekends is beat everyone in our conference and find a way to get back into the conference final and beat whoever we meet there, because you can win. If you win your conference, you're automatically allowed into the tournament, which is awesome. But last year we qualified on an at-large bid. So let's say we make it to the conference final and for whatever reason we lose. If we continue to win the rest of our games and we have a really astounding record with our super hard, like our schedule's probably one of like the top 25 hardest in the nation right now. So if we come out with a winning record, even though we lost in the conference final, we may still qualify for an at-large bid. So I think it's important to win, but it's more important to win the conference games. I think we're putting a lot of emphasis on that right now.
And we wish you and the rest of the team the best of luck going forward. I'd like to thank Caroline Boehm for joining me here on the Riverhawk Spotlight. I'm your host, Josh Klein, and I hope to catch you next time.